month, we would vote on the employment contract and the job description, because we need a month to prepare that information. So kind of a two-part.
So move.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any other discussion? So it's for appointment of Marshall as the new CEO. Congratulations. And then staff would prepare the employment contract and job description, and we put on that officially next month to make it fun. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for waiting an extra month and a half or whatever, but had a process that the team had to go through. So, Jay, you've never had to wait so long to give your report, have you? On the edge of our seats.
Yeah. Well, and Mr. Chairman, do you want me to go through the recommendation?
The food resiliency stuff?
Yeah, do you want that now or do you want to
You know, it's
wait?
at the very end under new business, so like if you want to do that now to hit the highlights, but we'll vote on it at the end, if that's okay?
However you.
I mean, if you want to go through it, and then unfortunately, we may have questions if you have to come back. I mean, it's your call. I don't know if you plan on sitting through the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, no, I plan to sit.
But make it part of your report if you want to go through it. People can ask questions now.
Well, and I was going to be very simple in my presentation because I've inundated you with information prior to the.
Oh, that's fair.
And I'll keep my report very short because I know you have a very big agenda today. So, the big thing that we've been doing over the past month is I have been working with our committee, which, as I said in the report, consists of folks from the ag team at Cornell Cooperative Extension. We've reviewed all of the applications that were received for the Jefferson County Food Resiliency Grant Program, Round 2. We had a tremendous amount of applications. I did outline those in the report. 18 were received under value added, and then an additional 32 were received under the ag production. As I indicated in the report, we did move some of those around because some applied for ag production that were really value added grants, and the same happened under value added or really ag production grants. So we did move some of those around. I outlined that in the report. It's exciting to see the interest in this program. We are recommending to you, let's see, it was 19 projects under the value added sector. With those 19 projects, the total amount of grant funds that would be used, and this is a correction from what you received, a small correction. The total amount of grant funds would be $168,043. You'll note that it was $168,045 in what you received from me. There was a little bit of a rounding error that Peggy brought to my attention. So the actual amount is $168,043. Now,
Under resiliency.
under the value added sector. Okay, that's the value added sector. Okay. Now, the county allocated $100,000 for that sector for round 2. We had $68,615 left over from round 1. So we'll bring that money in, that $68,615, and use it to cover the rest of the grant applications for value added. Okay, so that's how we'll cover all of the value added applications we are recommending to you.
And that'll, does that wipe it? Does that pretty well clean it?
Yes.
It's used up, it's done.
And let's hope that it gets used up completely, yes. Our recommendations will totally utilize the funds that we have available. Under ag production, there we go here. Under ag production, we are recommending 23 projects to you. The amount, again, there was excuse me, a little bit of an error that Peggy caught for me. Thank you very much, Peggy. The actual amount of grant funds we will expend if you approve these is $386,159. Okay, that's $386,159.
386 or 368?
Let me just check. 368,159 in grant funds.
So it is 368.
So 368,159. Okay, and let me get myself back here. Now, the county allocated 500,000 for ag production. As the committee reviewed the grants and as I outlined in the report, we had a ranking procedure that we used, and we felt that any grants that did not receive 50 points or more in the ranking should not be funded. Okay, and that's, you know, recognizing that we had the funds to fund them, but we just could not feel comfortable in recommending to you that those projects deserve to be funded. So what we'd like to do is the remaining funds, which would be about $131,000, those remaining funds we would use for round 3 later this year. Okay. So I probably made it as clear as mud. I do apologize for that. But that is our recommendations for the food resiliency grant, keeping in mind 2 sectors, value added and ag production. So to continue my report real quickly, when you add all of that up, when you add up what we did for round 1, which all of those projects are still active, even though they may have been completed, we still have to monitor those for 5 years and keep our hands on them to see how they're doing. And then with these new projects, and you add those to all of the, like the CWT farms, the dairy projects, all of the projects we've got going on. Right now, we have 71 true agricultural economic development projects that we are managing. That's pretty phenomenal. It's neat to see this. You know, I've been doing this for 23 years, and we really have grown our activities. That's in addition to all the other stuff like the dairy parades, the seminars, and all of that kind of stuff, the podcast. But it's kudos to you and our team here. We have 71 ag economic development projects that we're managing right now. There's no other county in this state that's doing that.
How are you able to manage that number?
We have a good
5
team
years.
here. We have a good team here. Not all 71 are the grant program, but almost. I keep in touch with all of the grant recipients and try to keep my finger on their pulse to make sure that they're doing what they should be doing as far as the projects. I also work with Extension pretty closely. Mike Knuckles and his team are an integral part of this. And so they are my eyes and ears, and they're more boots on the ground than I am because I unfortunately spend a lot of time here in the office. So they're my eyes and ears, and they know each of the projects. So they help keep me alert to anything that I need to be aware of. So it is a team effort, and it is a cooperative project. Even though we administer it, it is a cooperative project between our agency and Cornell Cooperative Extension.
I noticed that very few of the recipients listed were familiar to me.
Okay.
Some were, but they're all in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
But they must be small enough that they're just not publicly known very well.
Right. And that's the other thing that's neat about this, and it's what we wanted to achieve. We are slowly growing our local food supply. They're in the value added section, I believe it is. there's 2 poultry processing projects, very small. That is something that we've needed, plus the 3 regular meat processing projects that we did last year. Now, some of these are gonna fail. I hate to say that, but it is the nature of business and it is the nature of economic development. Some of these projects down the road will not make it. They're small businesses and that we have to expect that. But we are helping these businesses if they're not already existing, they're getting their feet on the ground. I'll give you an example. Dwayne Smith, one of the applicants, he's growing honeyberries. And it's a crop that I think has a lot of potential as a fruit crop here in northern New York. We just sent his stuff down with Farm Bureau, his products down with Farm Bureau to their program in Albany, where they meet with all of the state legislators. Farm Bureau was giving his products out at the reception for all of the state legislators. So through these programs, we're lifting these people up. So
One last question I had
Sure.
was, in the chart, some have asterisks next to the points awarded.
those are ones we switched over from the other category. So for example, John Bunetta, who is under the, he is now under ag production. He actually applied under value-added processing. Or no, excuse me, he is under value-added processing, excuse me. He applied under ag production. He applied for $20,000, but his project is definitely value-added. We could not call it an ag production project. So, depending upon your decisions today, I might have to call him and say, here's the situation, John, you applied for ag production. We can't do that, but we can do this. This will be the amount of money you potentially will receive.
Do you know if any of these businesses are also receiving the grants in conjunction with any loans? You may not know that,
Yeah.
but they could very well be.
To my knowledge, we are very familiar with these projects. That's part of what we do. To my knowledge, I'm not aware of anybody that's receiving a loan for their project at this point in time. Some of them, like that one I just named, maybe he might need that. So,
So
Yeah.
if someone scored under 50, will they have an opportunity in round 3 to improve their position?
yes, as long as, and it's one of the things we need to decide, we haven't gotten that far with my conversations with Dave. That additional money, it is under the ag production sector. It was under that 500,000 the county allocated for ag production. So we have to decide and find out if it's possible. Do we keep that money just for ag production? Or do we move it over to value added? So that's, I either want to do one or the other, because to divide that, it's 130,000, that's not a ton of money. And to divide it up between the 2 sectors, we're not really going to do either sector justice. So we have to make that decision. Does it stay under ag production? Does it go under value added? How do we do it? Good question.
Yeah, I think the county, in previous discussions with Bob, I think the county has no problem with adjusting between categories according to the need. That's allowed under the contract. So so another round, we would give people a chance to come back and strengthen their application, or new ones to apply that maybe weren't ready to apply at the time we offered the first round.
And when the county originally allocated, it's a pretty big difference between the allocations. Is, in your opinion, is that the right balance of how? I'm not saying one's more important than the other,
Sure.
but there's clearly a big difference in the funds available.
We didn't know exactly what to expect, and I actually asked it. Dave got the ag production side a little bit more money, thanks to Dave. We didn't know exactly what to expect. We thought that there'd be a lot more applications for the ag production side. My expectation is based on what happened between round one and round two. The value added side, round one, we were nervous that we were going to get enough applications in round one for value added. Now, all of a sudden, we've gotten a lot of applications, more than we can fund for value added.
Mhm.
I think we'll see the same thing happen under ag production. As word gets out, people will say, oh, I got a project that
Okay.
absolutely would fit.
Finally,
And actually,
comment.
between the two rounds, actually worked out even. The first round was 400,000, all value added.
Okay,
The second round was 100,000 value
and
added.
neglected to take
So-
the first
Yeah,
round.
so we think the other,
Yeah.
it's been equal, but we.
But the funds that are available, I guess, my 2 cents worth, and you don't know what you have for applications, you could consider the value added. Maybe there are 4 grants of a maximum $7,500. That'll spend the 31,000, and then there's 100,000 left over for ag production. I mean, so you could provide some balance of equity for both styles, because you may get similar applications that they file under ag production. It's a great project, but it fits under value added, and something to consider on how to help all projects that come through. But until you have applications, I guess you don't really know
Right.
how to best spend the funds.
Right, yeah, and because this is still relatively new, our first year was last year. So especially on the ag production side, it's brand new. And, we got a couple projects that I didn't expect, the 2 dairy farm projects. I think they're excellent projects. I didn't expect these. And according to our criteria, I would say we have to consider those projects. And we did debate that extensively at our committee meeting. So, yeah, it's a learning curve. I think it's been a fantastic learning experience to go through. My only concern is how do we continue it in the future, because it's doing such good things. But yeah, so then my report is very long. I apologize. I said it was going to be short. The 2 last things is we have that seminar on March 28th. That is going to be fantastic. If you can possibly make it, please do. David Cole will be a fantastic speaker. I think we all can get a lot out of that. And then the dairy parade, where things are coming along great on that. Very excited. We've already got like 20 entries. I've never had that at this time of the year. Fundraising for both programs, we're at about the $14,000 mark. I need to get to 22 by March 28th. So we're working hard on putting together all of the funds to pay for all these things. So.
Jay, one quick comment I'd say is when it comes to these people, some of them failing, I don't see any of them failing. And the failing is when you spend money and you leverage it with a bank loan and it doesn't cash flow and you have to shut it down and you're in a hole.
Yeah.
And you can't repay. All right.
Yeah.
These are all grants. So will these people be making product 10 years from now, still selling that product? Maybe not. But in that sense, they never fail.
Yeah.
They don't fail because it was a grant. Will they still be operational? Maybe not, but there is no failure with this program.
And I agree with you. Maybe that failure word wasn't the best choice of words, but at the same time, my job is to give you a very realistic expectation
Sure.
of what you might see 2,
Sure.
3, 4 years down the road. So.
I mean, ultimately, a small business drives the economy. That's where all the jobs are created, but it's also the most volatile part of it. It's worth a lot more time.
The other thing I would love to see you do, with Bill's permission, this is such a success story. Unlike any other county in New York State, we owe it to the county board of legislators, our elected officials, county officials who saw the opportunity and said, do this, right? You should, from a public, and 5 minutes, do a public report.
I don't know if that's possible.
Well,
I think it's a half.
Oh, you lost me at 5 minutes.
No.
The next county board of legislators meeting from the
We'll do a
floor.
prepared statement.
Yeah, it takes me 5 minutes to do the introduction for the prepared statement. Bill, would you like to respond to that?
We just talked.
And A great idea at April 2nd, what time?
6 o'clock, I was just gonna say, because I saw
6
your
o'clock,
notice at 7.
I will send the invite to all of you in case you want to attend, but yes,
No,
just
I mean,
schedule.
they should get that report with the numbers and statistics because it's phenomenal.
We will do that,
Yeah.
but if you'd like to be there,
No,
love to have you there.
You're the front person. You tell the story. You're the one that's good at it. But they should get that recognition. It's like,
Oh, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Certainly the funding came from that. It's a lot of gratitude there, but this was not an easy lift. Just from the marketing of it, trying to get Marshall on the podcast to talk about it. And then Cornell Cooperative Extensions,
Yeah.
with Mike, Abby, and Amanda, it's just a ton of work.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
No, thank you.
Put a smile on my face. So.
Yeah.
so it makes Jefferson County unique, that relationship with agriculture, industry, tourism. It's in harmony.
Anything else for Jay, or Jay, anything else for us?
That's enough.
All right, thank you. And we're
Thank
gonna reserve the vote on this until it's ordered in the agenda. Manufacturing.
There's a Jefferson Lewis Manufacturers Alliance is
Yes,
Excuse
Greg?
me, folks, sorry to interrupt, but I've got to go. So
Okay.
I'll see everyone later.
Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you, sir.
Sorry for the difficulty in audio.
So we have our next meeting of the Jefferson Lewis Manufacturing Alliance, which is what we do jointly with Lewis County, our counterparts over there. That's going to be March 22nd at the Hilton. And right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically that one's going to focus on funding that's available to manufacturers. So we'll have ESD, the workplace, the state apprenticeship program, the SUNY apprenticeship program, and Workforce Development Institute, speaking of available to manufacturers, either to help fund workforce, to help fund expansion efforts, capital expansion, equipment lines, financial support doing their exporting, for increasing exports, and for what else? They covered it all.
Okay, any questions for manufacturing or the marketing? I think that's you, Marshall.
Okay, we don't have any grants to approve this month. We did pay out on a couple of grants. As I do every month, I want to make sure that everybody recognizes Joy's incredible work in keeping all of these grants straight, and she's doing an amazing job on that. If it's okay, can I do the presentation of the annual report right now?
Well, you're pulling it up, I'll just add, and there is a lot of work, Chris, you asked how we manage, I mean, it is a lot of work, teamwork together, Jay worked with Robert Extension, Marshall worked with Joy worked with Jay as well, but there's getting the contracts done after you review it and have those in place, there's doing all the 1099s, to report on those grant funds that we're allocating into here, and then filing our regular reports to the county as well, so.
Absolutely. I mean, just the keeping track of who has their agreements, when they are, how much money is left. We get these calls from the grantees, asking what's the status of my report, and Joy always has that stuff all ready to go, and I can say, oh, we're waiting on your insurance, or your reimbursement request hasn't been sent in. We need your receipts and things like that. So there is so many little, and it's not overly complicated, but when you're dealing with 200 projects, in total, Joy's just doing an amazing job. So I'd like to just take a minute to present the annual report to you. We're gonna have printed copies really soon, but I'm gonna share it here. We'll go through this. Wait a minute here. Share screen. Okay, right and here, and I'm not going to go through this. I'm gonna go kind of quick here. We have just so much stuff going on. It follows the same outline that we always have. I think it's easy to read. There will be some changes on the staff things. There's some things on the political side as well in the back. But the meat of the piece is all squared away. Projects on the IDA side, our financial summary, And this is one of the things we're waiting for to get all of this approved. The highlights on the JCLDC, Marketing Council, Advocate Drum, Regional Economic Development Council, and the Alliance. Talks about our branding with Grow with Jefferson County, which has been great. The LDC current projects, including some grant stuff here, Manufacturing Day, manufacturing growth. We have the little picture here of the kids at Great Lakes Cheese, and Fort Drum Economic Impact. There's a lot of stuff in here. Workforce development, talk about agriculture, of course, and our New York State Small Business School Board Association Champions of Change Award that we received in 2023. And that's hanging out in our front room. The financial summary, civic facilities. Really, it's not a whole lot there with the current projects and the financial stuff there. So again, just a quick presentation of what it's going to look like. And thank you for your support. If anybody has any questions, we have a lot of stuff going on with different executive sessions and things like that. So I would like to, if nobody has any questions, but please, if you do have some, share them.
So you're gonna do a printed thing for next meeting?
Yeah.
We'll have it print for that.
Yes.
Is that it for marketing?
That's it for marketing.
Okay. Page 142 of our packet, we have the first extension to grant agreement with Community Action Planning Council. It was originally executed in 2022 on April 7th. This is an extension of that agreement, and I guess, Dave, if you want to give us the.
Yeah, so originally, I thought it was 24, but we had 23 when this thing was expiring. I think it may have been just a typo, but, so we need to extend the agreement through the end of 24 to finish spending the funds. This basically says all the other terms of the original agreement stay in place. I did add in there, if you look at under the now, where therefore, item 3 and 4 address what we had learned of the deficiencies in the single audit. So basically 3 says to the CAPC in the agreement, you are a subrecipient, and then 4 says has a subrecipient, you're required to provide this audit report back to us. So
Okay, so it's an extension of an existing contract, no new funds, it's just allowing time to exhaust the funds.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's been a successful program today so far. So probably about 88 slots in home daycare helping create between the training and or the assistance for materials and supplies. About 5 new full-time positions in some of the center-based programs, retaining about 130 positions.
May we have a motion to extend this agreement? as
So moved.
presented? Christine first.
Second.
Kent second. Any other discussion or questions? Barring any, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agreement is extended as, once they signed it, it'll be extended. Page 144. We also have a child care training contract with JCC. This is for cohort number 4. It's a memorandum of agreement between Jefferson County Community College and Jefferson County Local Development Corporation dated today. And this is the home-based child care training program. This will stay in force through May 31, 2025. And again, Dave, just give us the Cliff Note version.
So again, you may recall, we did the first training program jointly with Lewis County. That was cohort 1. That pilot, we then went back to the county when we got a chance for the ARPA funds. We've done 2 rounds of training for home-based daycare providers so far, that's our plan, but because the contract for that training was kind of based on the projected number of trainees, since participation was lower than expected, there's some funds left over. So we're using the remaining $18,000 to do another training cohort.
Okay. May I have a motion to accept this cohort 4 agreement as
So
presented? Bill, second, please.
Second.
That'd be Lisa. Any other discussion or questions? Barring that, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agreement is, the motion is carried to sign the agreement. Page 151 and 152, I think that is you, Joy, ARPA, round 1, round 2.
Yeah, you have the reports there. I did make quite a few payments out. We're starting to work on the tourism ones, which is kind of exciting. People are finally able to do things. We're just plugging along. I'm gonna be working on the grant agreements for the ag ones here in the next few days. Actually, for a week or so.
Couple weeks.
Next month.
No, I'm pretty quick. And then, that's just about it.
All right, any questions for?
What's the
George?
pool of money left, and what's the pool of money we have for tourism category?
It's
There
500.
was 500,000.
And we haven't, how much of it have we dispersed today roughly?
We've dispersed, it's right on there, 31,669, but people are just starting their projects because a lot of them can't do anything in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So, I'm in contact with quite a few of them, actually, so.
Just in the last 2 days, we've had so many calls of people because of the nice weather saying, okay, well, let's get this thing started. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of administrative things that go behind that, as far as making sure they have more of the documentation, because of the
But-
auditors.
Of the applicants in the hopper right now, is that fund gonna get wiped out with the applicants in the
Yeah,
hopper
I
right
mean,
now?
we've already approved 468,000, so
All right,
we're very close.
you're that's
Yeah.
pretty well shutting down too.
Yeah,
And my intent, under the contract, we can use some of the ARPA funds for our direct costs related to administration. So as we did last year, we'll take a portion, I'll probably take out of what's left in the rental program to apply toward our costs for a single audit, that added.
Yeah.
But we're not taking anything off the top of this thing for administrative costs. We're okay, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the ARPA? I doubt, but I'll ask Joe, anything from council this meeting?
Nope.
Okay. That moves us to page 153. I'll ask for a better explanation from Lyle or Joy on this, but I'll read it first. Resolution number 03.07.2024.02, authorized charge off of administrative services billing to in-kind services. CFO law, we recommend charging off $294,697.90 for the administrative services billing and kind services ending 12/31/23.